brilliant because, you know, this is Industry Week and this great sort of hub of TV and film, and all that energy that was in the audience was just great, and really good questions, and fantastic that you know, that there's so many people that are interested in all aspects of the industry. So I was expecting a load of directors to be there, but it was editors and people that were interested in post and writers. You know, that guy that asked about risk assessment and, you know, problem solving on set. So really kind of, you know, advanced questions, and they're already thinking in a much more advanced way than a lot of filmmakers that I meet in London. So it's great.
Yeah, not so. Is tomato ketchup a good substitute for blood or something like?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's sort of, you know, how, you know, what kind of shots do you do? I think that they have already. It seems that there's a lot of people here that have got a really good insight into how you make film and television already. Oh, it's really changed. I mean, I did the sort of confetti promo, I don't know, 4 years ago now, and this building wasn't done up. So I remember sort of having a quick look around when it was being built. And the facilities here are amazing. They are at Antenna, they are here. There's another college that I went to up the road that we shot a lot of the promo in. I just think that people in Nottingham are really lucky, actually. They're really lucky. You know, if I go to film schools in London, they haven't got the facilities that you've got here. It's really advanced and it's really cool. And, you know, people will want to come here and hang out because it feels like a really great environment to be in. So, I mean, I know that, you know, Craig set up Confetti ages ago because he worked in a confetti factory when he was, thinking about what he wanted to do. So when he set up this, and he was interested in sound and was a roadie, so when he set it up, he called it Confetti. But Antenna was new. I don't know when it was. It must have been, 10 years ago that they built that building, and then this one. So it's really grown, and that vision that he's had for Nottingham is great. And now it's NTU, so, you know, it's a university, and yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, so when I first started making short films, there was a company called Intermedia that funded, actually, me and Penny to go to Cannes to pitch a script, and that became EM Media. So when the BFI sort of had different hubs in all the regions, it was EM Media, and that was based at Antenna, and that's where, you know, people like Simon Ellis got his first funding to make his short film, and I did, and so yeah, it was called EM Media and Intermedia then. It's really interesting, actually, because you kind of, whether you're working with inexperienced actors or experienced actors, the thing that you must remember as a director is that people always need direction. And sometimes you feel embarrassed to give it to them because they are award-winning. You know, I've just worked with Anna Maxwell Martin, she's won 2 BAFTAs, but she needed directing because every role is different and it brings the same insecurities every single time. So I always think it's when you're directing actors is always talk about story, always talk about character. I remember as an actress myself working with Mike Leigh, Roger Michelle, Julian Gerard, and I think that when I really understand what a director wants is when they're talking to me about intention, or they're talking to me about what action I'm playing in a scene, rather than, oh, could you bring that up a bit or down a bit, or could you be a bit more dynamic with that, or could you slow it down a bit, or, you know, it's about talking to an actor in a character way. So if I'm directing an actor and I just think it's just too slow, I'll start talking about what action are they playing. So I'm like, what do you want out of that person? How do you want to make them feel? Then really do that, and there's an urgency to it. And then suddenly they speed up. So it's about nothing. Everything has to come from a character motive or a story incentive, rather than just an adjective of what you're going to say to, of how you want it. Sometimes, you just want to just bring the level down a bit if it's a sound thing, but I think don't direct with adjectives, direct through story and intention, and always know as a director what you know as an actor. You know, what does this character want in this scene? What do they need? What's at stake? And what happens if they don't get it? Do you know what I mean? And all you do as a director is you do it for all the characters rather than the one you played. You know, you have to know that all the time. You have to know where they've just come from, what they're going to, and just talk them into that what if the whole time. You know, I think that's the biggest thing for me as a director. And if you've got a big star, you know, like Brenda Blethyn, who has been playing Vera for years, she knows that character better than you. So don't go in there going, oh, I've got a different, you know, vision for this character. But sometimes what you can do that makes her look at it in a different way is speak to the other actor that she's with and go, allow her to intimidate you, allow her to put you on the spot, allow her to frighten you. And you'll find that even with Brenda, that she'll start doing that more. So she might not need that direct direction. It's more like where, you know, the movement of the scene. And she'll come from a very much a story starter. So she'll go, yeah, but in this scene, I've just come from there, the Landy's there, da, 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 da. So it's more logistical, the way that she sort of approached the scene. But that's how you can kind of direct somebody that's been in a long show for a long time, that knows much more than you do. I think there's a big push at the moment in the industry to make it more accessible. So diverse crews, diverse, actors in shows has become really, really important. I always believe that the right job should go to the right person, no matter, you know. But I also think that sometimes opportunities aren't there for people that want to come into the industry because, you know, I managed to do another job while I was trying to be a director, but there was a time when the only people that were really directors was white middle class men that had rich families, you know, so that could support them, you know, that they had money, that they could be supported. It's even harder if you're a mum, you know, because you're having to juggle family life, earning money and a vocation as well. And for a lot of people, it is more of a hobby than it is a career. And then you have to, you know, juggle times when you're not working. You know, when you do a big job, I did 2 big jobs back to back, you need a bit of time off as well, just to reconnect with your family. But then you can't have too much time off because you need to know that another job's coming out. So it is tricky, but I think that the industry is acknowledging, you know, families more. And, you know, when I was on set with Agatha Raisin, my son got rushed to hospital, and that was in London, and I was over in Bristol. And, you know, the production, you know, a few years ago, they'll go, well, you're directing, you can't leave the set. But the production company immediately got in touch with Matt, a director that had worked on the show. But he was down the M4 doing another show, but he was in prep. And he just literally got into his car, drove up and just replaced me on set. And it was amazing. I just went, Matt, this is a scene. I spoke to the actors and I went off and he just took over. That'd be unheard of. But everyone was like, no, she's a mum and she's got to be there. So that was amazing. That wouldn't have happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago even. I think, you know, as I said upstairs, I think if I can make it as a director at my age and being a woman, which is not always easy, but getting easier, thank God, then people that are, you know, they're in their mid-20s have got loads of opportunities to do that. And I also think just don't stop doing it. You know, I think that the only reason I managed to finally work in TV is that I didn't stop directing, I didn't stop making plays, I didn't stop writing, I didn't stop getting in touch with people, I didn't stop trying to be a director. And then eventually you become a director because you keep doing it. But you've got to keep doing it as well as everything else. And it does become tiring. Rejection isn't great, as you know, as actors, but if you don't stop doing it, you're the only one that's going to make it stop. And you're the only one that's going to make it happen.